Yo, what is going up, YouTube? It's Carlos Hernandez, aka your favorite YouTuber, and today we're going to be talking about what happened this week. I'm not the first person to report on this. Was that North America finally secured its first Bitcoin ETF? Woo! Hooray! This is a big deal because this is the first time in its existence that I'm personally aware of, or at least at this big of a scale. And the funny thing is that where this was actually launched was Canada. So shout out to Maple Syrup, to Drake, to I don't know whoever else is from Canada, but it's really interesting that Canada and not the United States was the first people to release a Bitcoin ETF. At least that's what I think personally. And the name of that first ETF that was created was called Purpose Bitcoin ETF. It's pretty straightforward. I'll put a screenshot of it right here. This ETF opened at around $10 when it first launched, and now it's around $10.55. It's not like one of those big IPOs that you expect to just blow up just because it's an IPO and everyone's trying to get in firsthand, whatever, right? This is just really cool because of what it actually is. Like I said, this is really the first Bitcoin ETF in North America, and since then, like I said, this week this news happened, there has been a second Bitcoin ETF that has joined the Canadian Stock Exchange as well, called Evolve Bitcoin ETF, which, I mean, the names aren't really that creative or anything like that, but I'll put a screenshot of that right here so you can look at it as well. As you would assume, both of these ETFs solely hold Bitcoin, and something that I would have expected a little bit differently opposed to what they're doing. Something that I thought that these ETFs would be doing differently is, instead of just holding purely Bitcoin, which from my understanding and what I saw on the internet, is that's what they're doing. It's just pure Bitcoin. And for example, I'll put a screenshot of it right here because I'm looking at the screen right here. Evolve's Bitcoin ETF is literally holding $1 million worth of Bitcoin. And that's literally the only holding that they have. This is $1 million worth of Bitcoin. And obviously with both of these Bitcoin ETFs, and I'm guessing with all the Bitcoin ETFs that we're going to see in the future, the price is extremely tied to how well Bitcoin does perform. So as long as Bitcoin does go up, the share prices and the price action for these ETFs will continue to rise and go up. And likewise, they will continue to fall as Bitcoin does fall, or whenever the dips do occur, because, you know, stocks don't only go up. They have to come down at some point. There has to be an equilibrium with just like everything in life. So it won't always go up. That's just kind of the point that I'm trying to make. It's just a unique opportunity in the market, and especially with the stock market, for these ETFs to come up, because a lot of stockbrokers, like for example, one that I use is TD Ameritrade, Bitcoin purchases within their exchanges. That's something that a lot of brokerages are trying to do, and they're trying to implement within their product offering. But as of right now, most major brokerages aren't offering their consumers, their customers, to legit just buy Bitcoin, buy and hold Bitcoin, unless you're on another cryptocurrency exchange like Coinbase, Gemini, etc., etc. Binance is another one. Unless you're on those specific platforms where you can only buy crypto, then you aren't eligible, or you aren't able to buy crypto, especially if you're using a traditional stock brokerage. So I just thought this was something cool. This is something that just came up in the news. This is something interesting to share. I mean, we're just seeing how blockchain technology is evolving, and how more people are becoming more accepting of it, especially within the big financial sectors like on Wall Street. And like I said, these two, the Bitcoin Purpose ETF and the Evolve Bitcoin ETF, just this week have been accepted onto the Canadian Stock Exchange. But that being said, you have to be able to buy stocks on the Canadian Stock Exchange for you to even get your hands on these Bitcoin ETFs. But going back to the point that I made about these Bitcoin ETFs strictly having Bitcoin and only physical Bitcoin, one thing that I thought I was going to see within, you know, their number of holdings or whatever their assets that they're possessing currently, I know this is just the beginning, and I'm sure other people that are way smarter than me are going to be implementing this, because I think it's pretty smart. But what I would like to see is that these Bitcoin ETFs, because if you don't know, a traditional ETF, usually it allows you to have a basket full of different stocks. Traditionally, that's what an ETF is. It has like 10, 50, 100 different stocks within different sectors, and it lets you be diversified, and it protects you from the risks of one specific security or stock falling 1 trillion %, because you're so diversified and you're well covered essentially. And one thing that I would like to see is that even though, you know, all these Bitcoin ETFs will be specifically tied to Bitcoin, it'd be cool to see that an ETF hold Bitcoin, like specifically just Bitcoin, hard, regular Bitcoin, and then also be invested in other Bitcoin stocks and other Bitcoin companies like Mara, Riot, MicroStrategy, and those are just a couple off the top of my head. Tesla would be another good one too, because you know how they just put a large portion of their cash reserves into Bitcoin. Like that would be pretty cool to, you know, kind of see. And I'm like 100% positive that this will be implemented, especially once that the US has their Bitcoin ETF and their Bitcoin stuff figured out for the stock exchanges that we have here, and specifically in America. But that is one implementation that I personally would like to see. And I'm sure, like I said, this will probably happen because it's kind of a no-brainer. So definitely these ETFs, you know, the Purposeful Bitcoin ETF and the Evolve ETF, they're definitely worth keeping an eye on because Bitcoin is simply the future. This blockchain technology that they're implementing, that, you know, it's giving people full transparency of the financial markets and who's buying what, who's selling what, who holds this amount. You know, it's anonymous, right? But that transparency, it would benefit the consumer as well as just make the whole financial industry more efficient. And if you haven't done research and you don't know what Bitcoin is, or you don't know blockchain is, definitely do your research. I'll maybe make a video about that because it's something that, you know, us average retail investors, us average people, you know, simple-minded people, whatever, it's something worth being educated upon. And it's really not that complicated once it's broken down. But you just have to do the digging for yourself, or I'll just make a YouTube video on it because I need the views. So that's all I wanted to say today. That's just the video that I wanted to make today. This is just big news. This is a big step forward for, like I said, the financial community, the financial sector. You know, we're implementing these little by little, these steps little by little. And, you know, it'll just make it better for us in the future, or hopefully, right? Fingers crossed. So thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. You guys are awesome. I'll catch you guys on the flip side, and peace.
Here we go!
Hold up. Guys, if you don't know, Webull will be giving you 2 free stocks when you sign up and deposit your first $100.
Perfect!
With any of these stocks being valued up to $1,400. If you're not signed up already, make sure to use my link down in the description. Also, you'll get $10 worth of Bitcoin on Coinbase when you buy or sell your first $100 worth of Bitcoin. Link is also down in the description.
Wow.